Cobra Kai Season 6, man. We are back in business. Now, one thing that I'm going to start off on before I get to the review. Well, I'm just going to start off by saying this is a great episode. And again, that's really common when it comes to Cobra Kai, really. And I apologize if I, stop and blow my nose because my nose is kind of stuffy. But, yeah, nah. When I started watching the episode, I immediately went to the season 5 recap because I haven't seen anything Cobra Kai related. I think in like the last year or two. I believe that was. I think it was 2023. I believe. I might be wrong. Maybe 2022. I don't know. I forgot the last time I seen it. I think the last time I was watching all of Cobra Kai, I had COVID at the time. So anyway, watch the season 5 recap. Trying to remember what like actually happened because I've just been going through the motions. I heated up some pizza, just ate it, watched season 6 episode 1. Great episode though. Great episode. The recap really helped, put things into perspective. There was no and I'm going to kind of dabble into spoilers, so, spoiler warning here and there. But there was no Terry Silver in this episode, and I don't really know if we're going to get Terry Silver in the rest of the show. I think that was the end of Terry Silver's character, that we see in season 5. But yeah, no. I think that was the end of Terry Silver, honestly. I mean, I don't really know how they're going to top that. So, Terry Silver is currently in prison right now, and, John Kreese, he's out of prison. He's in Korea or wherever he was at the end of the episode. Because I saw the subtitles and they said like Korean something. So I would assume that they're Korean students, I believe. And then he said Kim Ja something. I don't even know. So I don't know. I think he flew all the way to Korea just to see those Korean students. And yeah. So he's going to take over another Cobra Kai dojo or something because apparently Cobra Kai is worldwide and we didn't know it. So Kreese is back. I'm not really complaining about that because every good story needs its villain, and I feel like the show would get boring overall if we didn't have a villain this season. So it's kind of repetitive, but at the same time, I'm not really complaining about it. The Eagle Fang and Miyagi Do compromise. Now, at first, I was honestly really intrigued to see a fight between Johnny and Chosen, but as the episode went on, I feel like they did a great job at explaining to the viewer that the fight is basically pointless and we should have peace. I'm a fighting fan. I love my martial arts and stuff, but there was a real cathartic feeling about this episode, man. Like there was a real cathartic feeling about this episode. I mean, the episode's name is Peacetime in the Valley, so I thought the episode started off kind of joyful, like a little bit like you see those happy-go-lucky commercial montages. It felt like that. I felt a little bit cringe when I saw the first montage, but as the episode went on, they hooked me into it as Cobra Kai always does. So I think this show in and of itself is a great show. Hardly any there's a few flaws, but they have a lot more good than bad. And really the one thing that I feel like was focused on in this episode, again, was the character development. And the characters like Johnny, and characters like Chosen, and characters like Kenny, and characters even like, I wouldn't really say Robbie, because I feel like Robbie is at the peak of his character right now. I don't think his character is going to change or degress or anything like that, but yeah. So outside of the Johnny, no, well, let me go over the Johnny Chosen. So basically, the point of their argument and their bickering is the fact that Hawk and Eli, No. Hawk and what's his name? Miguel? No, not Miguel. I forgot his name, bro. I'll look it up after this. Um, yeah, Eli was Hawk's original. Okay, yeah, but so Hawk and his other friend, they came to a compromise and they made this nice looking banner where it says Miyagi Fang Karate. So they kind of merged the dojos and everybody was applauding. I thought it looked kind of cringe, but I appreciated the effort. Well, I didn't think it looked cringe. I thought like the face looked pretty distorted. But I thought like I thought it was cool for what they were what the meaning behind it was. And then Johnny and Chosen, they got into an argument because Johnny thought that them banishing Eagle Fang was a disrespect to his. Well, no. Actually, uh, Larusso, Jesus, Daniel. So he basically thought that he was tempered, and he thought merging the dojos was like a disgrace to Miyagi Do and the name and all that, and he's yapping about that. Johnny goes on and he says he doesn't want his dojo to be banned too because that would be a disgrace to everything that he built up for Eagle Fang. And again, this is what I was talking about originally. Well, first let me get this through this first segment. And then Chosen, he starts to get pissed at Johnny because, I think he starts to, well, one, he wants to defend the honor of Miyagi, his name, because he respects him as a warrior and all that. And two, he thought Johnny was being disrespectful and they started arguing a bit. And then it's decided that they're going to fight, later in the episode. And one thing that I like about this little debate here is the fact that I honestly really like how they kind of agreed more not agreed more, but they kind of gave us a good reason for why this fight is happening. And again, something that Cobra Kai does, all the time. They gave us a great reason for why this fight was happening. They gave us a great reason for why both combatants in it want to fight and have the drive to fight. Because, as I said before, Johnny, he believes like it would be disrespectful towards him and his dojo and everything that he's built up just to get wiped away. So, he's just gonna fight it out, And Chosen, they go on about him with the 80, what did he say, the 80 staples in his, the 80 stitches in his back, and the 80 stitches in his back. He called Kumiko drunk because that's understandable because he almost lost his life that night, which I honestly thought he did. But he called her, and then he thinks that she wants nothing to do with him when that might not be the case. So he's heartbroken. I believe he's gotten over it to a certain extent. He's coping with it, and he wants to fight for the name of Miyagi because he respects and honors Miyagi Do. What Miyagi represents. Not only as a sensei or a warrior, but as like a person. As the way of life. Miyagi and all that. You already know if you watch the show. But yeah, man. So they started arguing about that. In the end, they both conceded. And, well, Johnny, quote-unquote, conceded. And Daniel ended up saying that he agrees with Chosen, but at the same time, he thinks that Johnny, in his own way, conceded because he says that there's no point for this fight to happen. And I agree because what they do, the actions that they do as senseis will come back onto the students, and who wants that when there's quote unquote peacetime in the valley. Ooh, that was a big one. Okay. Okay. But yeah, peacetime in the valley. And there's no reason to fight, but I do appreciate that they thought the fight should happen regardless. And yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, that's basically it. I'm not really disappointed that we didn't get to see the fight because, I love the great character development that we got this episode, man. We got some great character development, and that's, I feel like, a staple of what Cobra Kai, the show itself, builds itself around, which I do appreciate. And then we go on to okay, and then we move on to the Kenny portion of the episode. That's what I'm going to call it, because I feel like this secondary plot was about Kenny, and I like how, again, they have the students having their own thing. Another thing that I appreciate about Cobra Kai, and basically, yeah, man, Robbie just kept on pushing, for Kenny to come join them, join their dojo, find a new way of life. And I love the way that they incorporated the big brother, aka Sean, into this episode. I really like that. I like how at first he was against them, but then he kind of saw what they were actually about. You know what I'm saying? Because, and I love Sean's reasoning. It's because Robbie left Kenny in this dark hole, that Robbie originally put him in, and he left him there because he had to figure out his own shit, and basically here we are. So he's pissed that he left Kenny behind, even though he was trying to figure out his own shit, and he was an angry guy himself. But and he brought Kenny into this this abusive school and all that, and made him into a bully, like everybody else, like Hawk and et cetera, et cetera. I'm trying to think of more examples, but I can't think of more examples off the top of my head. But yeah. So Kenny right now is still in his bully phase, and he has all this aggression that he can't let go, and a part of him honestly admits to still believing in the way of Cobra Kai. Because I think he said, like, strike hard, strike fast. Again, I don't really remember all of the dialogue, but I remember him saying that he still believes in what Cobra Kai represented. But I believe Sean's word... well, first of all, let me describe the image. So, Robbie kept pushing and pushing and pushing at the arcade for Kenny to join them and to let go of this hatred and all that. And so eventually, with all this hatred building up, and both of them fight each other. And also, Sean also said, if you keep on bothering us, I'm gonna scrap with you too. So I like how it's kind of a callback to their fight. Robbie said that, first time I struck first, this time I'm not gonna strike. You know what I'm saying? I like that. I appreciate that. And from their prison fight, I believe, which was in season 3. And yeah, man. Let me think about what else. So they fight, and also Tori and Sam, they're still kind of awkward. They don't hate each other, but they're still kind of awkward about the whole thing, because, and this is the part that made me cringe during this episode, because they're just like it's such an awkward atmosphere, and Miguel's trying to have conversations with them, and it's not working, But yeah, man. So they're at an awkward position right now, and I believe, like, back at school, Robbie and Miguel had this idea that they would basically bring them together in a way, that they would help them find out, their differences or whatever, and have them be friends, and et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, man. So basically, they help out Kenny in a way, and they both said that if Robbie needs help, with the Sean problem, then they'd back him up. They eventually fight because Sean keeps on saying, if you keep bothering us, et cetera, and they scrap, and they're playing defense the whole time, and then Kenny starts has this confrontation with the two girls, Sam and the two ladies, Sam and Tori. And then Sean actually sees that they don't really fight him. They don't punch him. They don't hit him. Again, they're just playing defensively. So that's what clicks in the mind of Sean, like, oh, like Robbie has a new way of life. He's not about aggression like he previously was, and so yeah, that basically click starts this whole squabble, and so that basically click starts this whole squabble, um and yeah, Kenny and Sean, they have the talk with each other. Sean says that he doesn't want Kenny he wants Kenny, like he sees that Kenny is becoming more of a man. He's different from when he once saw him as like a nerdy kid, and now he wants him to become a man that his father can be proud of when he comes back from his tour, with the military. So yeah, that indulges Kenny, which I was honestly kind of surprised by. I honestly didn't really think that Kenny was gonna join this soon, honestly. But yeah, man, I didn't think Kenny was gonna join this soon. I thought this was gonna be like a long lasting character arc that Kenny was gonna go on. But hey, Kenny joins right away, and we are off to the races. Where again, peacetime in the valley. It's all peace. Everyone's coming to, everyone's conceding, I guess, what Johnny said, and everyone's coming to a compromise. And yeah, man. So yeah, peaceful episode. I'd give it out of 10. I'd give it like a 9 out of 10. I thought this was a great episode. I thought this forwarded a lot of things that this forwarded some baggage left in season 5, and I like how. And again, this was a great first episode. Like they did what they needed to do. There were some. You got the Sam and Tori stuff, the Johnny and Chosen, and then you got the Kenny stuff. Like all that stuff wrapped up into one makes into a great episode where every single plot line changed from where it originally was. So yeah, great episode. Can't really say anymore, and I hope I recapped everything. I can't really think of anything else. I'm about to get ready to go to work, so yeah, peace.